you doing? Group Everything Rhymes with Orange, presenting the Hulu TV user interface. My name is Andrew Lozon. I'm going to be presenting the final project for the group today, and recording it on an iPhone just for ease of use. So for the content that we're going to be discussing today, we're going to be discussing the previous work, methods and procedures, data analysis, results, design enhancements, and the final prototype. A little overview, we had 2 target users. They have smart TVs or a smart stick, and they have a Hulu subscription. The usability improvements that we're focusing on are the keep watching task and the previous episode task. We worked through the hierarchical task analysis to create the prototypes. So rationale for the task that we selected, the keep watching is a very commonly used task, but it currently requires tabbing over 3 times to the right to get to that function and then selecting the one that you want to watch. Previous episode, so when someone's Netflix cheating or if you fall asleep and it advances the next couple episodes, you have to go back and you have to watch the previous episode. There's no obvious direction to the user for this. It actually requires pressing the details button down in the lower corner here. Very small and obscure to see. And it's no real indication to show you that. Some other ones that we're focusing on, text legibility, small white text on colored background, and selection of the show. They employ this overline technique throughout the strategy, which makes it difficult to understand what is selected in certain instances. So the results from the Part 1, user requirements analysis, the data collection. This is where we actually had the participants use the actual Hulu interface on their TV. We had 8 participants, 12 to 43 years old. They're daily, weekly, monthly users. They have access to all the other streaming platforms. They were asked to navigate through 4 different tasks. The keep watching in the previous episodes was part of those tasks. The data was collected from a formal usability study and a interview with sus questions as well, where we collected errors and all that. So some of the results from the phase 1, we had errors on the task. There's an average of 2.375 errors for the keep watching task, and the select specific episode selection, there was 0.5 errors on average. There's some comments from our customers or participants when they were going through it. I wish there was less clicks to get to what I want, and need to focus a lot in order to read the text. So the system usability scale that we asked them, I thought the system was easy to use, scored an average of 3.9. I found the system unnecessarily complex, 2.8. I thought there was too much inconsistency in this system, 3.1. And I found the various functions in the system were well integrated, 2.9. So these were on a scale of 1 to 5, 1 being strongly disagree and 5 being strongly agree. So before we get into this section here, I just want to take you through our original prototype that we had them do this next phase of the usability study on. So for this portion, we developed this prototype here. We rearranged some things. So for the keep watching task, we instructed them, hey, we want you to keep watching the next episode of This Is Us. So you would scroll down, you would hit enter, and that would complete the task. For the watch the previous episode, you'd scroll down, you'd hit enter, you'd scroll, hit up, and then you would you'd hit up, and then you would hit enter, and you would complete that task there. So for the usability study in Inform, we would do the introduction, we would gather the demographic questions, we would ask if they are familiar with the remote control here that we used for the interface. We would have them prompt them to start the scenario 1 of keep watching the current episode that you're on. After they completed that task, we would interview them, ask them the sus questions, some open-ended positive and negative questions. We walk them through, or ask them to complete scenario 2, and then we would interview the sus, open-ended questions, and then close and thank them. So similar to Project 1's evaluation, the quantitative, we recorded a number of errors. So if they any misclicks or anything like that, we counted that as an error. Also asked the system usability score and then open-ended positive negative questions. We didn't train the user. We didn't walk them through the tasks or anything. We did ask them to allow them to ask questions about the remote control if they had any questions about those. So the participants for this usability study, we had 5 due to the COVID. We couldn't really get a full statistically relevant usability group. So we had 40% female, 60 male, kind of even split between 40s, 20s, 30s, and 50s. 80% were familiar with the remote control when we asked them. So again, the participants were asked to navigate the UI for the features Keep Watching and selecting the previous episode. So for the errors on task for this usability study with our final prototype, we had 0 errors on average for the Keep Watching, and we had only 0.2 errors on average for the selecting the previous episode. Some comments are, oh, I like that. I like how it's bigger. I like how it tells you what you have to hit details. It's way more intuitive, and I didn't have to search for my show. This flowed a lot better and made more sense. So significant drop in errors for the Keep Watching and the previous episode as well. For the usability sus scores on this, we had for ease of use 4.8 compared to 3.9 in the first system. So almost a 1 point difference in that. For complexity, I found the system unnecessarily complex. We had a 1.2 compared to a 2.8 in the first one. And for inconsistency, we had a 1.2 compared to a 3.1 in the first one. And for well integrated, we had a 4.6 compared to a 2.9. So really significant increase in the system usability score for the second prototype. The results for this, the impact of your usability, we reduced the steps required to complete the tasks, simplified them into 2 common tasks, less complexity and confusion. We increased the overall user satisfaction. Commonized the features and visualization. We changed the highlight to the underline versus the overline. Moved a frequently used feature to an immediate and logical location. Less errors overall in the study. The usability goals, the heuristic evaluation and initial user study identified 3 areas needing improvement. The Keep Watching, selecting previous episode, and underline icon selection. The initial prototype tested positive in achieving the main goals for the usability. And then we took some feedback from the class that the class provided in their peer reviews, and also some feedback from the participants that we had, and improved on our prototype design based on the output of our usability study, and again the class comments. So here you can see some of the comments from our participants in the usability study was, hey, there's no text under here. We didn't know what these icons meant. It would be nice if you could add some text. So we added some text here. We added increased background for visibility there. Again, changed the overline to the underline. We made this bigger. So this is the final prototype here. This is based on the output of the usability study. So again, with this, for the usability study, we said, hey, we would like to increase this contrast here. So we added some backgrounds, changed the text to black to make it more readable. Again, this is just a more blown up version of adding text to the bottom so you knew what the icons were. The Keep Watching in our final prototype that we presented in Project 3, we had a black or a gray background, and this is what we used for the usability study. We had a comment saying, hey, it'd be nice if this matched kind of the background and made it look a little more aesthetically pleasing. We blew up these icons for the prototype. We got some comments, hey, that looks really good and everything. It's still kind of a little fuzzy, hard to read, so we changed the text to black and made it in line with the rest of the theme. So now I'd like to walk you through the final prototype that we had for the usability after we took the output of our usability study and the comments from the class again and just made it a little bit more visually appealing based on some of the feedback. So again, the task to keep watching This Is Us and watch the previous episode of This Is Us, assuming that you fell asleep. So here you can see we have the text under here, we have the icons there. For keep watching This Is Us, you would scroll down, you would select This Is Us, which would bring you to this screen immediately. For keep watching, you would simply select the button and that would complete your task. For the watch the previous episode task, you would scroll down, you would select it, then you would scroll up, which would be your previous episode, you would select it, and there you go, your previous episode task would be completed. So again, just changed the contrast and made it a little bit more visible here, and that as well. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your time, thank you for listening, and that is it. You guys have a wonderful summer.